our Darling Petals Turnabout bundle. We stepped up our turnabout game with this one. Yes, this still functions the same way with 4 turns to make a full colorful background, but this time you can use up to 8 colors of ink. You'll want to test out your ink colors first on scratch paper, then get to turning. Let me show you what I mean by using for up to 8 colors of ink. If you'll look at the turnabout section of this stamp, you'll notice that on this half are the florals, and on this half is all the foliage. Okay, so when you're doing your turning, you're gonna stamp one half in like pinks or reds or yellows, and this half in greens. In order to, when you're turning, that you'll end up with green foliage and like pink flowers. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, let's slide those off to the side. First, let me just show you about the dies, because that's the easy part, okay? So you've got this die set here. You've got a large flower that die cuts the large ones, a little flower, and then your leaves. You also have the scripty word darling, and this is the little dot to the eye. Don't lose that so that you can actually dot your eye on your die cut. And then notice here that in the stamp set, you've got different sentiments that build around the word darling, like to the darling couple, darling sweet baby, to my darling friend, or just hello darling. So this is a way that you can mix and match your stamping and die cutting together. Now let me show you about the turnabout, okay? So you've seen these on our website if you're familiar with our turnabouts. This is what I mean by doing the different colors of ink, okay? So this is using just 2 colors of ink, but stamped 4 times. By 2, I mean 2 at the same time. 1 color for the flowers and 1 color for the leaves. This is what it looks like stamped once, twice, 3 times, and all 4 times. Okay, here is another one where we've actually used 4 colors of ink. So you start with your 2 colors, okay, and by 4 colors, I mean 2 greens and 2 reds and pinks. Okay, so you've stamped once, and then we're adding in like this coral color with the darker, more emerald green. Okay, so that's stamped once, twice, 3 times, and 4 times, using a total of 2 inks in the greens and 2 inks in the corals and reds. And that's what it looks like. Okay, now if you want to just completely step it up, this is what it looks like if you use 2 different inks with every turn. Okay, so you're going to use a pink and a green, and then switch colors and use like a purple and a darker green, and then switch colors again. You've added in your blues, and then this one is all 4 turns with 8 colors of ink, using 2 colors of ink in 1 turn. Hopefully that will make sense. Okay, now let me show you what I strongly suggest is to first test out your ink on scratch paper. You'll notice here that we picked 2 colors that were 2 blues, but when we stamped them over the top of each other, you lose that light color of ink because light doesn't show over dark. Okay, so we tested again, lightened up the blue color that we used, and then you can actually see the layering stamp when they're both stamped together. That does show through. Okay, let me show you some more examples. This is all 4 turns using just 1 color of ink for the flowers and 1 color of ink for the foliage. Here is another example where we've used 2 colors of ink for the flowers and 2 color of inks for the foliage. So it just kind of gives a little bit more dimension, a little bit more tones in there. This one is using 4 colors of ink, okay? So you've got 4 colors of ink, 2 for the flowers and 2, no, sorry, this is 4. 4 for the flowers and 4 for the foliage. So just depending on what look you want to get, you can mix and match your colors together. One other thing I do want to point out is if you notice, it leaves an empty space in the middle. This is because we've designed the sentiments to actually fit right there in the middle. Okay, so you can also stamp like best wishes oh, happy day, and then there's your hello. But they, without the white cardstock, you can just stamp them right down in the center of those. The other option is we've included an extra flower in the stamp set here that if you stamp that right there in the middle, it fills in your pattern. Okay, so you don't have a blank space anymore. So that is also fun to do. Now, what I strongly suggest is that you tune in to our technique video where I will go into more depth on how to go about turning this turnabout. Do you agree that this bundle is darling? Let me show you some more samples that have been made. Okay, this is one where it's just two colors. You've got yellow for your flowers and the gray for the foliage. Turns out really cute, and we've added those die cuts on the top. Okay, here is one that is just two colors of ink for the flowers and two colors of ink for the foliage. Here's one that uses 4 colors of ink for the flowers and 4 colors of ink for the foliage. You've added in your blues and some other corals and stuff where they overlap together, and then you've got your sentiment right there in the middle. Here we've just created a card that is tonal. Okay, so you've just stamped all the same tone of ink on craft cardstock, and you can still just get an all over look with that fun background. And then you use your die cuts to really emphasize your focal point. Here's one again that's all done in the same color, but we did add some gold embellishments, and we've used our Neutrals glitter pack on that die cut there to give it all that fun shimmer. Here's another example where we didn't use the turnabout at all. You can just use the die cuts, and if you can see that, like the word darling is actually the negative space, and then we added in another piece of cardstock behind it, but it kind of gives those words a fun texture there, and then just added your die cuts and your sentiment on top. Okay, so do you agree that this bundle is darling? Are you ready to come up with some color combinations in your crafty head? We cannot wait to see them. Be sure and tag us at Concord and Night.